Yes. Hello. Hi.
She, man, I tell you, Lord, we live, baby. What?
And it's
Hold
on. And
on.
it's on. And it's on.
Who said? Wait, can you hear me? Hello? Who's out there?
Is anybody there?
Is anybody out there? Hello?
Hello.
What?
Is it
Oh
me you're
my
looking
God.
for?
What? Gang.
What up, though?
What's good?
We out here.
We in the building. Boom, 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 boom. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I'm like bugged out right now.
I mean,
Big shout out to
life
Marcelo.
is exciting.
Shout out to Marcelo. Thank you, Marcelo. You could have waved. You could have said, hey, you know what I'm saying? To us. You know what I'm saying?
Marcelo is waving at us. Y'all can't see it, but we can see
Yeah.
it. You know, it's very personable.
Hey, yo, I'm bugged out. We are live streaming right now from Eventum Studios in Medford. Let's go.
Let's
I
get at
see
it.
y'all in here watching. Big shout out to you. Yo, listen. I don't know why I just got mad nervous. Hey, yo, listen.
Don't be nervous. It's fine.
Yo, we are live streaming right now from our home court at Eventum Studios. Thank you, Marcelo, for setting us up on this live stream. This is live stream number 1. It is the pilot, y'all, okay?
The pilot. It's
We
it's all experimental.
Literally testing this out, and I'm hella nervous. So,
Which I don't understand. Don't be nervous, Phree.
I'm hella nervous. I'm going to just say that. I've been dying. I've been really wanting to live stream for so long because this is, just I feel like the time and the era that we in now in life is like this social media thing and live streaming and people just looking for conversation. I look for background noise all the time. Podcasts, live streams, whatever. But anyways, so I've been wanting to get on this live stream thing, and now I just feel like I'm talking because banter. It's crazy. This is a heck of an experience. I'm super excited. I know, like, it may seem small to y'all, but, like, it's mad big for us.
Yeah, there's a journey to get here.
Hell of a journey. My man, listen.
Hey,
Listen.
we in the building, y'all.
We in the building. You know how we typically go in 30 minutes before I introduce the podcast? I ain't finna do that. I ain't finna do that today, all right? I'm not gonna do that because we here and we live and it says somebody was watching. Big up to you watching. Drop something in the chat so we see that you here, so we know that you here, so you know that you with us. You know what I'm saying? We can see you. You know what I'm saying? So drop it, give it to us, converse with us. Let's open up the conversation. Drop a question or whatever in the chat. Drop some fire emojis, some mic emojis, something. Drop something. Anyways, what up, y'all? If you are new and you just randomly stumbled upon us in your algorithms and you have no idea who the hell we are and where you are, welcome. You are at the Phree Game Podcast.
Let's go.
Don't judge us. That is our air horn. So
You're gonna get that soundboard popping
we
any day now.
You know, it's cool. It's cool. It'll come when it's time to come. Shout out to I don't know how that happened, but shout out to that. See, this live stream thing is weird. I can see, you gotta stop. You can't
It's
pay
delayed.
attention to
It's delayed. Don't look at the screen.
You can't pay attention to the screen. You are at the Phree Game Podcast. If you are new, welcome. I don't know how the heck you got here, but I'm so happy that you are here and that you are joining us. I hope that you stay. For everybody that is our day ones, that has been on this journey with us, that has been binge watching our episodes, that has been locked and loaded and waiting for us to drop another one. I know it's scarce right now. Just trust the process, baby. You know what I'm saying? We got to trust the process, and everything working out in God's favor and God's grace. And I'm excited for that. I am one of the hosts of this here podcast. My name is Phree. And I'm joined every single week recording. I mean, we live today.
We live, baby.
We live, baby. All right. I'm geeking. We live today, but you know what I'm saying? Typically for the last year and some change, we have been recording and producing and doing all this behind the scenes work for this here podcast. So, it's been a long one and we have done a lot of things and I couldn't have done it without you.
Aw.
So I need everybody to make some noise out there for my man to my right, JG.
Hey, what it do? How you doing? Hey,
Philly's own. You know what
Philly,
I'm saying?
go Birds. Hey, what?
You dig? We're not.
Nah, we are
Okay.
champions. I'm just saying, it is what it is.
I wasn't gonna. I felt like somehow we was gonna be able to get past this.
It's been a week, fam.
We missed a week. Actually, we record every week, but like we missed maybe a handful, a couple.
It's
of
only
handful.
been a
Listen,
week.
1 week we missed.
The parade was just 3 days ago. They still got confetti in the streets.
Wait, they still paraded in the blizzard?
They paraded on Friday.
Was it? Oh, they're not in. Why did I think? I heard parade and thought it was New England something. I thought it was Boston. I'm like, wait, they're out there in the blizzard just
it definitely
parading?
snowed. The same time that it snowed in Boston, it snowed in Philly as well. But the parade was on Friday. The snow didn't come until Saturday night.
Well, shout out to the Eagles. Are you proud?
How's that?
Have you always been an Eagles fan?
My entire life, I was born an Eagles fan.
I'm just checking the temperature because they be some people that just be bandwagon. For
Yeah,
who's popular.
I feel sorry for those people. Because listen, the resilience that you gain being a fan of Philadelphia sports, the ups, the downs, the back and forth. Listen, man, this was a long time coming. You know what I'm saying? It was an even longer time coming getting to the first Super Bowl, which we won't talk about. I know it's a sensitive subject. But 2 years ago, the Eagles were in the Super Bowl against Kansas City. Did not pull it out. Kansas City pulled a miracle at the end. Assisted, some say, by the refs. Whatever, it is what it is. It's water under the bridge. And this time, it was a rematch, and the Birds hunted. You know what I'm saying?
Now, when you say assisted by the refs.
There was a questionable call at the end of the game. That then set up the score that allowed Kansas City to claim the victory.
Do you think sports is...
I wonder what this question is going to be.
Do you think sports is rigged?
I don't know. You tell me, Titletown, is sports rigged?
Gang, you see? Why you such a hater?
No, I'm saying I don't.
You had to throw that was hate
from the city that
I'm
wins
gonna hold you.
from the city that wins all the championships. You're asking me is sports rigged?
You're mad because we win all the champions. Shout out, yo, represent Boston all day. Roxbury gang, we in here. You know what I'm saying? Boston.
What I'm saying is I don't think that sports is.
Shout out to the New England Patriots.
But I'm surprised that a winning ass city like Boston would even allow that question to enter the chat.
Why?
I mean, because y'all be winning. So if it's rigged, what does that mean?
I'm posing the question for the pod.
I understand what you're saying. I don't think that it's rigged. No, I do think
true?
I do think that sometimes there's definitely point shaving, and that's been shown. There are biased refs, and that's been shown as well. But I think you have to put yourself in a position to be able to win, and sometimes there can be stuff that goes not the right way or goes the wrong way, and people interfere. Right? Because there's a lot of money, there's a lot of betting, there's a lot of et cetera, et cetera. But so many factors that lead up to you even being able to get in that championship game. I don't think that all of that is rigged. That just doesn't seem possible. So many things so many people would have to be involved. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of
I mean, as long as money's involved, I think anything is possible. But I mean, since we're here.
We are here.
Did you watch Kendrick's Super Bowl?
I did. I watched the DEI Bowl. I was excited about the DEI Bowl. Listen, it was two black quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? It was the blackest halftime show in the history of halftime shows. Jesus. Yo, people were popping up in the comments, U.S. national politicians were popping up talking about why were there no white people in the performance, and I was like, hey, yo, people definitely were like, well, we got rid of DI, so it was just merit based. I guess they couldn't.
But what you
They
actually
couldn't
think
keep up with
about?
the choreography.
What you actually think about his performance?
I enjoyed it. I thought that it was very thought provoking. I thought that it was on the level of how modern performance goes. I think that it was very well planned to have people still 10 days later talking about it, still memeing about it, still discussing it, still trying to poke holes in it, still trying to, on some level, understand everything that went down, still unpacking it. There are people who are still criticizing it and talking loud about it. It is a constant subject of discussion. I think that for the moment, for the performance, that's what you want, right? Because, you know, you can have a performance of like, oh, wow, that was great for the moment. But to have something that has that lasting effect of having so many people discussing it, think piecing it, talking about it on the internet, said it was the most watched halftime performance ever. Somebody finally beat Michael Jackson's viewership.
Crazy.
That is crazy, right?
That's crazy.
Just that stat right there is insane.
Beating Michael Jackson's anything is
It's crazy.
Crazy. It's insane.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kendrick Lamar. He absolutely did that. Like completely.
Yo, the thoughtfulness that went into it.
The
And
intentionality.
every time you see a Kendrick performance and there's a stage, and it's always dramatic, it's always big, it's always, you know, and like there's always a deeper message there. It's always intentional. And I think that he carried through all those points very, very well. He represented West Coast culture very well. He represented African-American culture very well. He gave a scathing critique of America, both through symbolism, through lyricism, through direct words.
It was the most simplistically complex.
Yeah. The layers were, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it was minimalist in a way,
if
but
it went over your head, you're like, oh, it was mad basic. It was, you know.
Yo, you know what I found out the other day, because people are still writing about it. So the guy who got elected president was there. He decided to go to the Super Bowl. First time that a sitting president has gone to the Super Bowl. And apparently because he was there, pyrotechnics and fireworks that were planned for part of the performance couldn't be included in the performance.
Oh, wow.
So we actually didn't even get to see the full performance as it was planned because they had to cut elements of it for security or whatever purposes.
Wow. And he still killed it.
That's what I'm saying, fam.
They tried to sabotage his joint and he still murdered it. And he's clear.
Yeah.
And he's direct. I mean, there was a couple of spots where I was like, does he got his breath? Does he not got his breath?
Can we
But
talk about breath control for a minute, though?
He's unmatched in my book when it comes to live performing artists and their control and clarity. Control and clarity.
In the era of people performing over tracks. And every
Why
level.
are we still performing over track?
It was just Kendrick's vocal and the instrumental. And he was on the move. They said he covered more yards up and down the field than than the Kansas City football team. We won't name them by name because it's a racist name.
Man.
But then the Kansas City football team did in the entire game of offense.
Oh, my goodness. He was working that whole
He really
field.
was.
That was the prison yard or prison yard.
Yeah, so it was a PlayStation controller. They flipped
Yep,
it into
I saw that.
a prison yard.
Yep.
They had, it was like the symbolism was crazy.
Dude on the street light at the top.
So they had I think 6 street lights, and there was a person on each street light, and then 10 people in the thing, and people were like, that was symbolic of his 16 friends, his 16 angels, his 16 friends that he lost to street violence, and it was just like, you know, they did Man in the Garden, which is like a whole, man.
And that peekaboo John was it. Yo, shout out to the people from Boston, the dancers from Boston that was able to, you know, get that experience.
That jacket that Mustard was wearing was also designed by a Massachusetts designer.
Dope. just hella dope, hella. There's so many things. I feel like the internet is full of conversations around Kendrick. We don't need to draw it out.
Nah.
Like we don't need to. You've gotten all versions of the layers and the conspiracy theories and the connections. We don't need to continue to do that here, but we want to mention it because he absolutely killed that. And I got a question.
Yeah.
Could Lil Wayne ever?
So we talked about this when it first came up, man.
I'm just curious.
No. Listen, bro, like all you have to do is go and look up.
Even if he dropped She Licked Me Like a Lollipop?
Even if, because if you go look at Wayne's performances anytime
the
recently.
Block is hot. The Block is hot.
Anytime in the last 5 years that Lil Wayne has appeared on stage, it's been straight hot garbage.
Yeah, he's
unintelligible.
Not looking too good out there on TikTok.
Like himself. He doesn't like it's.
He's not doing too good on TikTok. He's not doing too good.
Bro.
He didn't do too well when he was like, "I'm not going to the Super Bowl." No.
Yeah, Wayne is
petty.
Wayne has been through a lot, and honestly,
I feel bad.
like,
pray for Wayne.
I think it would have been. We gotta let
Tunchi.
have his legacy.
He's gotta let himself have his legacy.
He's meant a lot to the culture. He's contributed a lot. That year when he did, what was it, 350 features or whatever it was.
He's insane. He goes in the booth, lets it out, and then he walks out and just keep pushing.
Doesn't even remember what he did.
And keep it pushing. Like, what? What you need me to do?
No,
here.
He's a legend. He's a living legend.
Nasty.
And we got to give Wayne his flowers, but I think that Kendrick owned that moment. I think that if you look at the moments that led up to the Super Bowl, where the buzz was building, the trajectory, where everything was going, the fact that like it peaked with like, yo, Kendrick swept the Grammys, played the Super Bowl, like it just made sense for a cultural moment. It just made sense.
Do you think it was a setup? Not that I don't think Kendrick deserved the 5 Grammys, but you think they overshot it because of the Super Bowl? Like it was you about to get the Super Bowl performance, so we finna like glaze you real quick and make it a big deal to get the record-breaking numbers.
We talked about the Grammys a little bit on my birthday, and I think that like with the way that the Grammys works, people vote for the Grammys.
Yep.
And he won in some large categories, and he won in some hip-hop specific categories. In the hip-hop specific category, like the big categories, everybody votes in. So that's like, 13,000 whatever people, right? Mm-hmm. In the smaller categories, it's just like the people that are in your industry. And so on a universal and on inside your industry scope, people were like, oh no, we really approve of this. Whatever that means, because it was peaking, because they were glazing, because it was popular, because it made so much news, whatever it is in that semi-democratic process, because we've talked about there's flaws in it, and they're talking about they're trying to make it better. Is it really all that better yet? We don't know, right? But like the process is what it is. People collectively were like, nah, this is it, and so he's he's 5 noms, 5 Grams.
I mean, he well deserved. Don't get me wrong, but the question out there remains for those. Well, like it being the first diss track to ever be played at the Super Bowl.
That's true. But also, I think just from like however you want to measure the accolades of whatever it is, right? Because like this week's Billboard, which is for last week, right? And then next week we'll see what happened this week. Kendrick became the first rap artist to ever have 3 albums in the top 10 of the Billboard Top 200. He had top streaming song, and then Drake dropped his thing and took it for a day, and then Kendrick took it back. And it's just like, people are paying attention. It's an interesting thing with art, right? Because like as artists, we want people to pay attention to what we're putting out there. I definitely read and heard some criticism. People I think got a little bit up in arms because folks were like, "Oh, this is a revolutionary moment." Oh, Kendrick's not a revolutionary, and so I mean, I guess the question that it begs for me is
Wait,
like,
what?
the question that it begs for me is like, well, because Kendrick is wealthy and he does well within the established record industry system, right? Like, you can't really necessarily say, oh, he's a revolutionary, right? Like, he's not trying to necessarily tear down the system, which is some people's definition of revolution. But I guess my question is like, as an artist, and particularly as a popular artist, can you still engage in activism without being an activist, right?
Yeah.
So,
No.
okay.
Can you engage? I mean, yeah. I mean,
Because the thing that makes it tricky for me is like, if your art inspires people,
you are an activist by nature. I feel like creatives
because of
and
the
artists,
effect, because of the fact
because of
that
the
your art
impact,
has.
right? Because creatives don't understand. No, we do. Let me not say that. I think that people that aren't creatives, or maybe even some creatives, don't understand the power of creation,
The impact,
right? The power that it of the impact, right? And I think I don't know. Go back to what you were saying. I don't want.
No. I'm asking you the question. Like, I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Ask me the question again.
So, like, do you think that as an artist, you can engage in activism without being like an activist, like that with quotes around it, like, I come out, I say I'm an activist. This would right?
Right.
Like,
Okay. So yeah. Sorry.
If your art inspires activism, does that, you know what I'm saying?
By default makes you an activist. I believe so, but if your morals and your values don't align,
it's interesting, right?
Then,
because that's the thing that's tricky, right? Because like the art has many purposes. In capitalism, one of the purposes of art is to extract value, so people will pay you for it, right? So that you can accumulate wealth. But also it inspires people to take actions, to think thoughts, to consider things, et cetera, right? So like in that way, art is a form of activism by my definition, right? Some people take that as a responsibility and they seek to make art that will invoke those kinds of thoughts, spur people to action. Some people shy away from that. Some people say, nah, my art's not for that.
That's
my
what
art
I mean.
My art is just to get the party hot. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
where I stumble upon, because I too believe that art is activism by nature, right? Creation is.
Yeah.
But if you are against that, or if
because even if your art is just getting the party started, right, and it's inspiring people to move, to feel joy, to engage in celebration, that is a form of activating people as well.
Right. But what if you get paid?
Go ahead.
To participate in something like that's
Like
activism,
okay.
But you do it for the check and not necessarily the movement, because activism would be for a cause, yeah?
It's interesting because, like, then we come back to that question that we always keep asking. Can you separate the art from the artist?
Sheesh.
Because if my intention with the song is, yo, I'm gonna make this money, I'm gonna get paid. But people are now using my song to inspire them.
Yeah.
To go up against the system, to fight for their rights, for whatever. Despite my original intention to get paid, which may even still be fulfilled, there's this other purpose that art is now fulfilling. You know? And so, I don't know. I guess I'm not.
So still, by default, you're an activist, whether you like it or not, I guess, is what I'm getting.
And I'm not as purist with that word activism, because I think that sometimes art can activate you, but in ways that are not necessarily progressive or not necessarily rebellious. There's some art that's put out there and meant to placate people, meant to get people to calm down and sit down, to drink away the pain, to not think about their troubles too much, right? And I think that also serves a purpose. We can't necessarily function in the world if we're always thinking about the shit that's a problem.
That just made me think about allyship.
Go ahead.
And like, it doesn't make you an ally because you work with an individual, like a body of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because I'm paying you, like, I'm queer, just because you're paying me to feature doesn't mean that you are an ally to the LGBTQ community.
Yeah. We've talked about having higher standards for allyship as well.
I know that might seem like a stretch, but like
going beyond the symbolism
with the activism thing of like, okay, activism by are you an ally by default because you're supporting someone? No, that's not how that works in my book.
Wow, yeah.
It might not be the same thing. I'm probably reaching right now, but that's what my brain works. My brain just.
I think it's connected. I think that artists who are not activists can make art that inspires activism. That doesn't necessarily make them activists, but it does make their art inspirational.
Got it. See, that's
you
the
know
glow.
what I'm saying?
That's the glow we need.
And that's what I mean. I think that's the separation sometimes, right? Because like, you know, I don't shade people who make music that makes them feel good. I don't shade people who listen to music that makes them feel good. I think that it's more important than ever in 2025 with all this stuff that we see going on, all the understanding that we have about subliminal messaging and, you know, societal programming and all this stuff, to be very careful about what it is that we're taking in, to be more analytical about why do I like this thing? Why am I attracted to this thing? What is it that's activating in me that is attracted to this thing, whatever it might be about? You know, we talk sometimes about the power of the tongue, and that's a strong, strong concept. And I think that a lot of times when you're singing along to your favorite song because you caught a vibe, and you're not thinking about what it is that the lyrics are saying, you're engaging the power of your tongue now to promote a message that maybe doesn't even resonate on a mental level because somebody hypnotized you into repeating this chant, you know?
If y'all didn't see the hypnosis episode, you should go check that out.
The hypnosis episode was dope.
But yo, that is tea. Okay. Power of the tongue. But before we get there, speaking of all of those things, I have a question.
Go ahead.
What the hell happened to Doja Cat?
I don't keep up with Doja.
Follow me, camera. So I'm thinking about, we're talking about the industry things and Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about culture shifting. I'm thinking about frequencies. It made me think about when we were talking about the Super Bowl and how we push Kendrick, you know, yada, yada, yada. Always brings me back to this machine of the industry. And like, it made me think about Glorilla and how Glorilla just had a big surge, and like all these celebrities or these other celebrities or once other celebrities are now like, you know, sprouting. And then it made me think about just a year ago, 2 years ago,
who was the hottest in the game? Yeah,
Doja Cat. Then I remember seeing Doja Cat in the red, and everybody was saying she took the oath. And then now Doja Cat is gone. I'm just trying to figure out what happened to Doja Cat.
Hell of a transition. Yo. Do we need to put out an APB for Doja Cat?
No, it's not a hell of a transition. We're in the same ballpark. Follow me, camera. Well, the power of the tongue.
I was using hell as a wordplay, but I understand what you're saying.
The power of the tongue is what I'm saying. And if you listen to Doja Cat, apparently she had a powerful ass tongue. But also...
See, man.
But also... I noticed that we don't see her no more.
Maybe she's just in the lab working on a project.
But in the meantime, in between time, we noticing folks like Glorilla sprouting.
Doishi.
Sprouting.
Facts.
And so, like,
it's a different vibe.
Do you think Doja could circle back with an album like, hey guys, I'm back, I got an album? It'd have to be like fantastic.
I think that the way that the industry works now,
They could make it happen regardless.
Doja could circle back with an album. That album could go platinum, and it wouldn't even have to break into the headlines necessarily.
That album could go platinum, and nobody even has to like it.
Well, that part too, but I'm just saying, like, from the fans that Doja collected, right? Like,
yeah, they're gonna, because there's that thing about going missing or when being invisible, when you're not around, you gotta make them miss you, and then when you come back, it's like,
you know,
I don't
so
know.
it's just I mean, I don't know. We make a big deal out of visibility in the current culture. Oh, I haven't heard from you, haven't seen you for a while. Do you still exist? But we were talking about with Chris Brown, you know what I'm saying? Like, he went off a lot of people's radar, but he never stopped doing what he was doing. And he was just out gathering a global audience.
He just kept going.
He just had, I'm
okay,
I'm gonna go to this continent now.
This
right,
didn't
cool.
work. Oh, this
now
work?
I'm over here.
Right.
But no, this did work. Okay, so I'm gonna build on that, and I'm gonna go to this continent now. And
no,
blah,
what I
blah,
mean,
blah.
these things work, but I mean, like, there was people forces working against him. He wasn't even concerned with, meaning, like, there was, businesses that didn't want to work with him, or they was trying to take money out of his pockets, meaning, like, they didn't want to do business deals or allow him to perform at different places.
Facts.
And so he had to, like you said, spend a lot of time overseas gathering that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
International money, which is good money from what I hear, and doing his art thing, you know what I mean?
International audience. He was
visual art,
acting, doing all kinds of stuff.
Yep. Carving a lane for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to Chris Brown, man. I just, good, bad, and folks can have their opinion about Chris Brown, but, like, I'm really, like, inspired, or just not even inspired, right? I'm really proud, that's the word, of, like, his evolution and the way that he doesn't need anybody to, like, solidify his growth or to affirm it or to validate it. Like you said, he just keeps pushing. All right, I'm gonna do this over here. I'm gonna keep creating. I'm gonna keep telling my story. I'm gonna go to the places that are offering love. Like, I'm gonna receive love from those that, you know what I'm saying, want me to be a part of that space and that environment. And he goes where the love is, and I respect it. And growing, we forget that he came into the game at what, 16, 15, 14, how old was he, 13, 15?
He was mad young.
You know what I'm saying? And was with Rihanna at what, 17, 18?
Right.
16, 17, whatever. And people still hold that.
That image, that's where he's stuck. In their minds.
Nobody wants to see
in his adolescence.
See him different. And so
yeah.
And that could really break a person, you know what I mean? Like, that could make or break a person. You can use that to fuel you and channel it to keep pushing. Go inward, right? Focus on self. Or it could destroy you. Like, some people could really.
Yeah.
But anyways, power of the tongue, learning more and more these days on this journey, like, it is so important. And I want to say this to y'all out there. We have to be mindful of things that we're saying, and not just, forget everybody else, right? Forget about community and politics and people and whatever. Let's talk about self, right? Like, literally, it is so important what we say to ourselves, what we say out loud to people around us, what the words that we're choosing to use, in the context of which we're choosing to use them. We hear this words of spells ideas, and, like, really, I need you to understand what it is you're doing and the world that you are creating for yourself just by what you're saying out of your mouth. And it took me a long time, and I'm not trying to ever come up here trying to preach, right? But, like, throughout this journey, and as I've learned, and I've made many, many, many mistakes, and I continue to make mistakes, right? And I'm continuing to give myself grace, and, like, the more I learn, hold myself accountable in changing the things that, I need to change if I want better for myself, and understanding what that better is and what it looks like and how do you do that. And, for a long time, man, be loose with the tongue. Been loose, just flying off the handle, just saying things. You know what I'm saying? Just unfiltered,
Yeah.
mindless,
Yeah.
and you know,
Yeah.
I think
Intentionality with your words is important.
I think it's about slowing down, and I'm gonna continue to reiterate that. Like, we have to learn how to slow down as a people. We have to learn how to take a pause as a people. And when I say as a people, I mean as a collective. Like, we should harness that energy, but individually, like, pause for a second, slow down, feel your heartbeat, take a bath, sit in the grass.
Do
You know
that.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And really, I know that's a total shift from how we started with the Super Bowl, but it's totally in line just with the chaos that's going on. There's balance and polarity in this life thing and everything that we do, and duality, and with all this beautiful stuff and the powerful things that could be happening. I've been saying, like, what we're seeing in the media and politics. Like, I feel like dude that just got president of the next couple years, I feel like he's just a hologram of our collective energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, the average of our collective energy. I really feel like, again, I'm not trying to be preachy, but I really believe that the more work people did on themselves and focus on themselves, and we'd be a better people. And I feel like the first part, have you ever read the 4 Agreements?
Yes.
Okay. Be impeccable with your words. Yeah. I think I've said it before on the podcast. Something that is just sticking with me. And I share that with you. Be mindful of things you say, how you talk to people, how you talk to yourself. And with all that being said, in music and what we're putting into music, the language you're using in music, the content that we're putting out in music and what's popular. When we're talking about being in hypnosis or hypnotized, when we're chanting these, these choruses or these hooks.
These hooks, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With the catchy beat, these dub steps. Like, what are you really saying? And what are we pushing? And we have to understand, like, this life thing is literally energy fused.
Yeah.
And what we push and what we focus on and what we say will manifest in real life and in real time. And I don't want to get too deep. I'm gonna push forward. I'm gonna keep going. This is not that podcast. We sliding through.
I mean,
it is. Meaning, it is that podcast I'm talking about. It's not that this episode for this live. There's a whole other. There's so much to dive into, and the layers.
Yeah, we got a few more things to cover.
Of the things that we think are real, that are really not real, that everything's an illusion type stuff. And I know y'all gonna whatever say what you say about conspiracy. You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of things.
There's a lot of things.
People
There's a lot of things
depend on that are not
real,
solid, not
that are
dependable, not real.
That are not real. And with that being said, do you think there's a shift in the culture that will happen, like music, like so right now,
I think
demonic things are popular. Demonic in quotations, meaning like when we talk about Doja Cat and the red and the devil and the this play on this dark energy, this or like sex, right? Sex always is the go-to. Like,
I mean, sex is important. It's how we make more human beings. There's a reason why sex is a part of every human culture, and people that try to control the masses always try to control how they think about sex and sexuality.
There's just something that hits different about Trina and Foxy Brown than Sexy Red and Glorilla. Not so much Glorilla. Shout out Glorilla. I like Glorilla.
I definitely hear what you're saying. And personal taste aside, right? Like who we rock with, who we don't rock with, who we find to be excessive, who we find to be acceptable. People get to make their choices about that. And I think that when there's a cultural hegemony that tries to dictate to people how sexual they should be, what their sexuality should be, all that stuff, it always, to me, is always a problem. It's an indication of a society that's sick, because like we be a little bit too worried about what other people are into. But you know, that's just.
But isn't that entertainment? You worried about everybody else to be entertained?
Yeah, I mean, some
an endorphin rush.
Some edginess that goes beyond what's acceptable is good for entertainment value, for
or
sure.
Or like a reality outside of your own that people just like to venture into.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Live vicariously through somebody else.
Vicariously, that's a great word. I love that word.
Through someone else's reality.
Uh-huh.
You know? And like
I think that the culture shifts before it ever makes it to the mainstream. So I think that the people we see popping up now, that has been developing through the culture over the past 5 years, invisible to the mainstream. And now they pop up in the mainstream seemingly all of a sudden. They've been there, grinding, moving up, gaining that energy, gaining that momentum, moving. So I guess looking at it from the standpoint of the mainstream, yes, the culture will change. But like in reality, you know, talk about illusion versus reality, the culture has already shifted.
Well, yes. Yes. These Gen Xers. That's after us. Yes, the Gen Xers. No, not the Gen Xers. What do they call it? Gen Zers. Gen Zers. Which one are they? Elemental P, QRS, TUV, WX, Y, and Z. Listen, these new generation of folks.
So X is like people born in the 80s.
Yep, and then the millennials,
Y,
and then the
millennials is 90s, Z, yeah.
Got it.
And then Alpha is the people that are becoming teenagers now, and then there'll be a generation after them. Yeah, they just went back around. So the generation after them will be betas. I'm sure they'll come up with a different name. Just like millennials used to be Generation Y, because you know.
Alphas and betas.
I knew you were going to take issue with that. It's just the alphabet. It's like naming hurricanes. That's how they name generations. They just go through the alphabet. Once they started with X. Because it was like the baby boomer generation. Then it was like Generation X, Generation Y, Generation Z. So then Alpha, Beta. It's like, you know, the naming conventions.
Wow.
There's a lot to
Wow. So creative.
Generation Alpha and Beta?
It sounds like a test tube
lab. It really does, though.
Incubator.
I mean, we are
sounds like an incubator.
We are in a social incubator for sure.
We all have clones somewhere in some factory, in some glass jar.
In a glass jar.
Full of liquid.
Hey, yo.
Frozen somewhere.
That is quite a...
ready to be activated.
It's quite an image you've created there.
Did you see Subservience on Netflix?
No.
Okay.
I should watch Subservience?
Yes.
I did see they cloned Tyrone, though.
They cloned Tyrone? Who's Tyrone?
You didn't see they cloned Tyrone?
Nope.
With Jamie Foxx?
Nope.
Oh,
is that on Netflix?
You gotta watch They Clone Tyrone. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, Subservience is about, spoiler alert, I'm not going to give it all away, but a couple, family, wife has a heart problem, husband goes get a robot to help around with the house and responsibilities, AI robot, woman, he ends up having relations with her.
You fell in love with the robot?
No, the robot can sense your emotions, so it's developing in real time. So as
the AI is learning from you.
Yes.
I see.
And so as the robot is getting to know him, she's learning like all his details, what he's thinking, what makes him happy, what makes him da 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 da. So as he's having these conflicts and internal conflicts because, you know, he's had a lot of responsibilities and he's stressed out and he's not having sexual relations and all this stuff, the robot can pick up on it. So the robot just started like groping him one day, and it was on and popping with the robot.
He went with it.
The wife found out, and when the wife found out, the robot tried to kill the baby and the kid and the family, just straight up. And then it malfunctioned.
As a sense of self-preservation, or
well,
oh,
it was saying that it was responding to because so it can only take commands from its server. The server being him because he bought the product.
I see.
So everything that's being registered is based upon how he's feeling, how he's processing.
So
how
the
he's
robot
thinking.
is acting out his emotions.
Yes. Well, responding to his emotions because the robot wants to please or do what's best for him. So she's picking up, or the robot's picking up everything that he's calculating inside and then responding to it. His needs. What she's suggesting is his need. So he's like, well, you need more rest and you need time. And the baby's crying, right? It's a newborn baby. So she takes the baby into the bathtub and tries to freaking unalive the baby.
Because the robot only has response, no empathy. Wow.
Yes.
No morals. I gotta watch it. Subservience.
But then gained a heartbeat from the human. Anyways, I know that was a lot. I didn't mean to just go in there. This is not. It tripped me out. You should see Subservience because that is where Elon Musk is taking us. And
Jeez.
there are robots out there. This is not. These scripts come from somewhere.
The robots are here.
Or is it the power of the tongue? Is the Simpsons, or what's happening now? Because everybody's like, oh, the Simpsons said this 25 years ago. What if the Simpsons just manifested everything that's happening now? The power of the tongue.
Yeah, I mean, the power of the tongue, power of imagination. Human beings tend to create the things that they imagine.
That is a fact. Shout out to all the women I dated in my life that taught me things.
Yeah?
For real. I mean,
You gotta be.
women are
grateful.
amazing. Not just women in general. They're
Facts.
just magical beings. And,
Absolutely.
thank you. Because I learned so much. I learned so much from our relationships with women. Not even just romantic relationships.
Yeah.
Like platonic relationships, my relationship with women in general. Like, you got to get you some women friends.
I do?
Yeah.
I think I have.
For real though. You gotta get you some women friends.
I think
Like
that's
women
good.
friends,
I
like-
think that's great general advice.
No, for real. They're amazing. They're amazing. I got a question about relationships while we're here.
Okay.
Okay. How do you adapt to change in general? And how did you learn to adapt to change? If it's a learned thing or if it's just something you're just good at because you're an Aquarius and an air sign and you're good at everything in life. And
Oh my.
I'm just curious.
Huh.
I tend to handle and take care, or I try to take care of my relationships, platonic, romantic, however you see it, with a lot, much more gentle these
Okay.
days, and intentional and mindful
We like that.
and reflective, But what do you do, like, when you notice there are shifts and changes in the relationship dynamic and the other person is unwilling to just name it and call it out? But you notice, like, there's a pink elephant in the room. Things weird, things are shifted, things are changing. How do you handle that? How do you approach a friend in a dynamic or any friendship, relationship. I'm curious. I'm talking about change because we change every 5 seconds. We change every 10 seconds. I'm a different person than I was when I walked into this place. So are you, and so are you. I'm just curious. I'm also an energy person. So, like,
Okay.
you know, I feel it. I see it. We try to talk about it. It's still like, what do you do? Do you just, like, fall back and be like, hey, man, if you ain't gonna say it?
Gotcha. I have been thinking about this somewhat lately. For a few different reasons. But I think that in the dynamic of human relationships, one of the things that you have to accept is that none of us individually gets to decide how a relationship with another person is going to go. And many of us who are neurodivergent, emotionally sensitive, often try to predict. You know, you talk about how do I deal with change. I've had a pretty chaotic life in the sense of like relationships and how quickly and drastically they can change. And when I was younger, it used to mess me up bad. And so I had to, I think, adapt a sense of being more analytical about what it is that's actually happening. Because I think that many times our perspective on the world is, what did I do? How did I affect this? What is it about me that, right? Like we hear those statements a lot, right? When people are trying to process loss or change or difference in their relationships. And I think that sometimes, well, most times those questions are important to answer, right? But once you have the answer, you have to accept the answer. So if the answer is, oh, I didn't change, I didn't do anything differently, I didn't switch up, I didn't cause an offense, you have to accept the fact that, like, even though I didn't do anything that I would consider wrong, this relationship still changed. And it's not necessarily in my power to make it how I want it to be or to make it the way that it used to be, which a lot of times is just the way that you were visualizing it, right? Like, sometimes our relationships are not what we think they are because we have idealized visions of people that we love, people that we care about, people that we interact with. And that's okay too. It's okay to have a misperception. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to misunderstand. I know that when I love people, I love them enough to just let them be them. If they need to be somewhere else, if they need to do something else, if they need to unplug, if they need to step off, if they need to disappear, if they need to push me away, all right, cool. That's what that's what you need. It's really hard sometimes not to take that personally, but it's better if you don't.
Yeah. Fact. I like how you said earlier about, for us neurodivergent and emotionally sensitive people, you think you like to breeze over. I saw what you did there, right? That wasn't more so for my own personal life. See, y'all just don't be trying to set me up. So what if I'm emotionally sensitive?
What you mean? I was talking about me.
Oh, are you admitting that you're emotionally sensitive?
Yes.
Give it up for the evolved Aquarians in the world, dog.
Of course I'm emotionally sensitive.
You know what I'm saying? This is why I knew I loved Aquarians for a reason. Give it up.
Hey.
Because when you're an evolved Aquarian, y'all are just beautiful creatures. You know what I'm saying? In y'all evolved states.
I appreciate that.
Or evolving states. You know what I'm saying?
We're all constantly evolving, yeah? That's what you just said at the beginning of the
but
thing. Some people are resistant to it, yes.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that I think these conversations are important to have, especially out loud. One, because like they happen in real time and they happen every day. Like we're constantly changing. The things that we are guaranteed in this life is change and death. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna die someday. We got an expiration date, and everything changes, right? And like, how do we? I think, how do we manage the changes, right? How do we adapt to the changes? How do we stay fluid in the changes, right?
Yeah.
Like, I had to learn. Somebody used to try to tell me all the time that I need to learn, get my scuba suit. And they used to be like, what? Yeah, I be swimming in my scuba suit these days. You know what I'm saying? Like, get you a scuba suit. I think I've said that before on this podcast too. You know, and like, how do we become more fluid and adaptable, and more self-reflective? Because if everything around you is a mirror, right? If everything around you is reflecting something back to you, and you are feeling or seeing or perceiving, like, I think the question for me when I say self-reflective for me is always like, okay, well, not what did I do or how did I do it? Because sometimes you can go down that rabbit hole. Sometimes I could go down that rabbit hole being like, did I do something? Da, da, da. Or it's like, well, why are you perceiving it this way, Phree? Like, why are you looking at it? You know, what is it that you are needing in this moment? You know what I'm saying? And so, like, you know, I posed the question because, you know, for so long it's just like, you know, I would take it personal, like, or not even take it personally, but think that I was at fault. Like, oh, wait, what did I do? I said it to you jokingly earlier, like, I'm starting to think you ain't like me. But like, honestly, how do we not, you know, take it personal? Or like, maybe we can try not to be taking things personally. Not maybe we can. We should, right? We should remove it from our relationship dynamics because it does hinder, like, our experiences with the person, with the relationship. And if you can't sit and talk to your friends on an up and up, I feel like if there's no space to have these conversations open with your friends, then I mean, reevaluate your friend circles. I think, you know what I'm saying? I feel, I don't know. There's this like weird dynamic of.
So what? How much of reevaluating your friend circles is taking a look at the people that are around you, and how much of it is looking at the ways that you interact with the people that are around you?
I think it's the more I'm changing and discovering and evolving, then the people are shifting and changing around me. So that's the thing. It's like, as I'm feeling a lot more like, okay, wait, like I'm doing this me thing, and like the homies that I thought, like we not in alignment, which is great because it's great because I love that friendships can do that, right? Like it can shift, it can move, and it can still be love. Like there's no loss there. But I think sometimes I sit whenever I'm still and the thought comes up, I'm like, yo, he's just different. Like we see, you know, I'm looking at my friends that I've been friends with for so long, and you know, is our moral compass the same? Are we like, who are you today? Not who you were 20 years ago, but like, who are you today? And you know, things are kind of shifted and changed, and I'm learning different things. And like, do we even like each other still? Like, do we reevaluate every couple of years? Do I check? Like, I don't know. People would call it a negative thing, emotionally sensitive, or whatever. I'm just present in my relationships. I am aware in my relationships. I am intentional about my relationships. And I'm observant as hell, you know, because I love and care about the people in my life so much that I'm just paying attention to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm paying attention. And so I think that there's part of that adaptability thing that I had to learn, and that not taking things personal thing, and that we can't control people and how things, like, you just have to learn how to be easy with the shift, and it'll be what it's going to be, and trust whatever stage that's going to exist in. And you deal with it. You cross the bridge when you get there, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's this awkward moment or this awkward stage of like, well, what do you do? Especially when that person is so near and dear. Like, how do you, it's tough. It's just challenging to adjust to, I think. And, I don't know. I was asking you for some. This is what we do here. I ask them for advice because it's just and like these. I don't know. There's so many nuances, right? There's so many nuances in how we navigate just, uncomfortableness, conflict, mindfulness and space and boundaries. Boundaries. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Boundaries is a nuance. Just in language, the way that we're applying it today. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different and it's very new to how we exist. When we talk about healing and we're going to do the work and self-love, boundaries.
Yeah, I think it's important to figure out how to be comfortable with discomfort sometimes too, though.
See, that is the hardest thing to do, is sit in uncomfortability. That anxiety thing, that used to be my word. That's when I would tornado. I'd be like,
because there's
no,
a lot of
you can't do that. Chill.
There's a lot of things that we're gonna be unsure about. There's a lot of things that are not predetermined. There's a lot of things that are confusing, but that doesn't mean that the world is ending. It just means that, I'm not sure about that thing. That thing is confusing. It's gonna take time to figure out. It's gonna take time to see. It's gonna take time for this to be revealed. And I think that there is a very important lesson in the thing that you keep coming back to, which is the being still, waiting for things to play out, seeing how things reveal themselves. Mm-hmm. Because often when we push really, really hard for the particular outcome that we want or what we think is the right outcome, sometimes we sabotage the outcome that we want by trying too hard to bring it about. And, particularly in relationships, you have to be willing to let your perception of what should be flexible enough to allow for what this other person that you're relating to thinks should be, how they want things to be. Also, what they're going through, what they're capable of bringing to the table at the time. It's it can be a lot. And I think that's the space where love and grace have to fill in.
But you ain't never had a friend that you thought you knew Ace Boone Cooney to the max, and then you find something out from somebody else about them, and you like, damn, I never
really think I know everything about people.
Not everything.
Hopefully we know their core beliefs and
not everything.
And morals
I'm
and stuff.
stretching.
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating. I'm being extra.
You might hear something about somebody that you think is out of character,
not even out of character, just
or that you didn't expect.
I've known you 20 years. I ain't know that your favorite orange juice was Simply. I've known you 25 years, and I ain't know that you like to eat frozen pizzas on Friday nights after work with a glass of wine and cheese dips and Ritz crackers. Huh. Totally making this shit. Totally making it up.
No, that's interesting.
Or you know what I'm saying? I just gave away my kidney last week, and I didn't tell you. That I only got one kidney now.
Wow.
Surprise!
I mean, yeah.
You're right. People's business is people's business.
Sometimes people are selective about what they share.
I just need to mind my business, is what you said. I just need to mind my business. That's what it is. You want to know way too much about your friends, Phree. Mind your business. I know he tired every time I see him. I'm like, why you don't talk to me? Like, you don't.
But I do.
No, you do. You do. But what I'm saying, I'd be like, no, I need to know more. Like, what did you eat today? What did you shit out?
It's really interesting.
You know what I'm saying? What kind of soap do you use in the shower?
There's a level of detail that, some people.
What kind of soap you use in the shower? It's kind of crazy.
Some people need more detail.
I mean, I don't need the detail. I just like them.
Or desire more detail. Yeah.
I like them. I like the details. The
trivia. You like to know the trivia about your peoples.
Yeah, because how you supposed to? I don't know. Like, I'm not a superficial person. I'm not a surface layered, like, stay at the tip. Like, I like to give it all. I like to put the whole thing in. I like to deep dive. I like to go to the bottom and see the corals and the colors. You feel me? Like, I like to see the algae on it. You know what I'm saying? I like to swim with the dolphins.
I can dig it.
You know what I mean? Like, I like to feel the pressure when you're down under the ocean.
Yeah.
I like to feel the pressure of the water the lower you get.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a bad thing?
That's an interesting
That sounds
metaphor.
like I freestyled it. I gotta unpack it too. I guess we all gonna unpack it right here on this live because
we definitely gonna have to look into and examine that one. But
anyways, we just went all over the place, and that's typical.
Yeah, that's what happens. You know what I'm saying?
And I love it. This was a trial run. You know what I'm saying? This was a test tube baby.
A test tube baby.
An incubator.
What could happen on a live, you know what I'm saying?
We just trying to see. I didn't let y'all know, in an advance.
Yeah, this is like a technical and a concept test.
I appreciate you if you pulled up. I appreciate you if you hung out.
Yeah.
We gonna keep it pushing, but I think the T is, I think that we should do more live streams. I wanna,
And we gonna get more active with the chat and stuff as people are leaving us comments. We'll react to them and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, but that get tricky because listen, I'm glad we doing this. Listen to what I'm saying. The comment section's open, but like, we gonna mind your manners in the comment section.
Got to.
We gonna keep it cute, but also like, tell us what it is. I don't like it. It's trash. No, don't say that. Leave it. No, you can say what you want.
Yeah.
Say it. No, don't say it.
Gotta say what you gotta say.
Hit the like, hit the don't like, hit the subscribe, say you love it. Tell your mama she should watch it. Something. You feel me? Not your mama. No, not your mama.
Oh, we got a comment in here from Nava. Hey.
Big shout out to Nava the Butterfly. So this is something that we try and thank you for being part of our incubation, our test run. I think we're gonna do this more often. I'm always saying, you haven't heard all of them, but we've got so many episodes and so much content that will still come out. Even if we shift to this live stream thing, we're going to be pushing, intentional content with it. But I like this freestyle thing here live, and, we might be on, right now we on YouTube. So subscribe, so you know when we going live. Subscribe. So you get alerted, or hit the notification bell so you get alerted when we go live.
Yep.
You can tap in. We can see your comments. We love you. I love you. There's so much to this. I also want to shift. We've been talking a lot about politics lately and celebrity news, and we do it intentionally to talk about blah, 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 blah. But we, I really want to be talking about I really want to be talking about solution-based things, like how like we talked about today, right? What do we
Yeah.
do in these dynamics? How do we adapt to these things? How do we shift? How do we shift the culture? You know, what can we do collectively as a people, as a culture, you know, as a community, just within ourselves too. Like, yeah, I want to have more conversations about that, and less about like freaking the president. Although we will be,
Yeah, because there's some things we got to talk
we gotta
about.
talk about it, and we're still gonna be talking about it. However, you know what I'm saying? There's so many other things we could be talking about. There's so many things we can be talking about. And if you want us to talk about something, DM me, drop it in the comments. I've already got a list of things. Y'all, I love you. I appreciate you for being responsive. Y'all have been responsive. And I got you. I promise. We're in the works. We're building. We went live to show you that we're in the works, that we're building. We're going to keep pushing forward. Thank you for your support. I love you. Tell yourself that you love you today. If no one's told you that you love you today, I love you. I love you, JG. I appreciate your presence here on this podcast.
I love you, Phree. You know what I'm saying?
You dig. You have any last words? Last words, final words, end words, closing words.
Closing words. I like that one. I like closing. That
Yeah,
seems
okay, all right.
seems less ominous.
Yeah.
Yo, we in this together, y'all. Like, just don't isolate too much. I know that's sometimes the feeling, the tendency to try to lock in with yourself because that feels the safest. But there's people that love you, people that are looking to help, looking to uplift, looking to support. And so when you need that, please reach out. If you ain't got nobody else to reach out to us.
You dig.
We got you.
That's a fact.
It's all love, fam.
It's all love. It's all love. Love is the medicine, you dig. It is the medicine. It is what is the cure. It is the question and the answer. And you have been at the Phree Game Podcast. And until next time, we out. Peace.
Go Birds.
Patriots.
I mean,
Go Birds is crazy.
you gotta stop the stream though.
Oh, how do I stop it?
I don't know.
We need smoother transition.
Well, Marcelo's not in here for the ending.